Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. From East Brunswick High School Gymnasium, it is wrestling as East Brunswick hosts Piscataway in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division meet. Hi, Jimmy Allinder, being joined by Stu Kohn, former East Brunswick coach, and now, let me get this straight, a signer of referees for Middlesex County. Is that correct?
You got that right, Jim.
Okay. Let's talk about this afternoon's match. First of all, let's talk about East Brunswick coming into this match with a 5-2 record, I believe, which is a vast improvement over what this team has accomplished in the last couple of years. What is the difference?
It's very interesting. You know, coming into this match, Piscataway looked to be the powerhouse. A couple injuries, a couple kids not coming out for the team may have brought them down a little. And East Brunswick, on the other hand, is the one wrestling well. The young kids are coming through and doing the job. There's no real big gun in the lineup. It's a balanced team and everybody contributing, which is making for the early success.
Now you say no big gun, but you have to believe that Tom Corio, 10-0, 10-0 record, and a couple of other familiar names in the lineup.
I'm sorry, Tom. There is some bright spots in the lineup that shine above the rest of the team, but overall it's a very balanced lineup. Keith Ritchie also enjoying some success in the Yanazos. Along with Corio, of course, and Gagnon. You know, it's a lot of everybody coming through and doing the job, and which is making the team have some early success this season.
Okay, let's talk about just some of the other teams in the Greater Middlesex Conference this year. East Brunswick always has to be considered among the top echelon. However, there are the other ones like South Plainfield and South Brunswick is coming along, Old Bridge, of course. Talk about some of the success of those teams.
Well, South Plainfield always seems to be in a league of their own. It's South Plainfield up here, and then the gap sometimes gets bigger and smaller between South Plainfield and everybody else. And again, this year, South Plainfield is really loaded, enjoying a great season. Below them is probably Old Bridge and South Plainfield, very close. I'm sorry, South Brunswick, who's been really coming on strong under Joe Doherty. And Ken Scott at Old Bridge always puts out a good team. And then East Brunswick is right there with the rest of them. And we should have a real good matchup today. This is a match that anybody could win. I talked to both coaches. There's a couple key spots, a couple pivotal matches where this dual meet can go either way, and it's going to come down to the end, and we're in for an exciting match today.
Okay, well, as Stu says, two evenly matched teams, at least on paper. A lot has to do with what's going to happen with who's matched up with who. Let's take a break right now, and we'll be back with the first match right after this. Okay, we are back here at East Brunswick High School where this afternoon the Bear wrestling team is taking on Piscataway. This is a GMC match. You see the flip of the coin there. Stu, purpose of this coin flip, please.
Okay, the coin toss is going to determine which team sends the man to the mat first, and the winner of the coin toss will have choice, and they'll alternate bouts depending on the winner's choice.
Okay.
A little bit of strategy employed to get the matchup you might want somewhere down the line.
Jimmy Allinder being joined by Stu Kohn, who is as well-known a name in wrestling in Middlesex County circles as any, I will tell you. And we're very, very fortunate to have him on board here this afternoon. First matchup is going to be at 103, where Jamie Guido, who is a freshman with a 1-6 record, is going up against John. Can you pronounce that for me?
Well, it's Guido, Jamie Guido.
Oh, Guido, okay.
Against John
Circatori. You know, we apologize for not having some of these names. And John comes in with a 2-8 record. This is his first year of wrestling. So two wrestlers who are starting to learn the ropes and being thrown into varsity action as we're underway here. Something happened.
Well, we got two freshmen here, so this match is up for grabs. Looks like they just banged heads.
Okay. A little dizzy.
Now, the wrestler is entitled to 2 timeouts, and this is his first timeout. The timeout's being charged to Piscataway. Now, if Piscataway wrestler should warrant another timeout during this match, the choice of position when they resume would go to Guido. And that is a new rule that was implemented last season, Jim.
Okay.
So that's something to pay attention to, and another part of the strategy.
Absolutely, it enters into the strategy.
He has a minute and a half of injury time,
right,
cumulative throughout the bout. And that buzzer signifies 30 seconds gone.
Got it. Well, that was the second 30-second buzzer, so a minute's gone by.
Okay.
And after the
So quite an interesting start here.
after the minute 30, what would happen?
He would be
There you
disqualified, and
What's he
Guido would be
gonna do?
awarded the win. I think that first buzz was premature. I think
Okay,
that's 1 minute.
Fine. Well, does it look like Sertikor is ready to go? Or?
Well, 7 seconds into this match, this is quite an unusual start.
Well, he did not. He was backing away. I did not see the headbutt.
I'm with you, Jim. I missed it too. I was just getting oriented here at the table, and it might have just happened that fast. We're going to need the rewind when we're watching it at home. See it again.
All right.
So it looks like he's going to continue, but it looks like he's probably out of injury time. So again, we have 2 freshmen on the mat. Jamie Guido from East Brunswick taking on John
Sertikor.
Sertikor. That's what
Why
we're
not?
going to go with.
Okay. Let's just say it's an all-Italian matchup.
Wrestling is in the bloodline in the Guido family. Jamie's father, George, was a standout wrestler in the late 70s for East Brunswick, and now involved in coaching the East Brunswick Recreation Program.
You wonder if the Piscataway wrestler is still a little woozy, and if Guido can take advantage of this.
Let's hope so.
What do you mean, let's hope so? You're supposed to be objective here, Stu.
I'm objective and unbiased, but got that green blood.
Gotcha. Oh, Lord.
So thus far, it's Guido being the aggressor. Both wrestlers are required to make an attempt for a takedown.
In what time frame?
At all times. If the referee feels one wrestler's backing up on their feet, he could be warned for stalling.
Mm-hmm.
Our official for tonight is Frank Sika, veteran official out of Clinton, New Jersey.
You must have assigned him.
Well, I might have something to do with that.
You say Clinton, New Jersey. Boy, you talk about a hotbed of wrestling up in Hunterdon County. That is, there is just so many quality teams. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the papers, and it looks like Blair and St. Edwards went at it last night. Did you see that match?
I saw that in the paper, and you can't ask for a better matchup than that. As we're tied at 0, 1 minute into this match.
Hunterdon Central up there in Hunterdon County always produces. As a matter of fact, every year, if East Brunswick's wrestlers are fortunate enough to make it to the regionals, that's where they wrestle.
Yeah, Hunterdon Central presently ranked #2 in New Jersey. Big Group 4 school.
30 seconds left in the first period, no score. Still a feeling out process.
So we have both wrestlers banged for stalling. With 20 seconds to go in the first period, our official feels neither wrestler's making an attempt to score. So both wrestlers are with the warning call now. Now the next violation would be a point.
15 seconds left to go in the first period. 3 2-minute periods. Not a lot of time left in this
Well,
period.
it's Guido in on a leg, and if he can pop out that whizzer, he'll come up with the 2, but ran out of time and ran out of mat space.
Now the Piscataway wrestler has no injury time left.
Right, if he stops, he would be disqualified. Now it's Piscataway had choice, deferred his choice to East Brunswick, and Guido has elected bottom, which means that Piscataway will have his choice in the third period.
And we'll see if Guido can pop out here.
Well, by taking bottom, he feels he can, and he pops up, beautiful stand-up, converts it to a neutral, and that's going to give him a 1-0 lead. Getting back to George Guido, Jamie's father was a teammate of mine and a real fine wrestler for East Brunswick. One of our team leaders at an undefeated season. Unfortunately, I remember that day in practice where George broke his leg the day before the district tournament, wasn't able to continue his season, and surely George probably would have went on and placed highly in the state of New Jersey that year.
East Brunswick has had a few through the years, win state titles.
The last being Scott Kammer back in 1990.
Excellent, very good.
So we're due.
Nice move. Guido with good quickness there. Let's see if he can hold it.
As we go out of bounds, we're going to get a fresh start. And when you go out of bounds, you resume in the middle in the position you left the mat in. So if you were neutral, you resume in neutral.
Still not a whole heck of a lot of action going on here. Both wrestlers feeling they're better on their feet.
Yeah. Both, cautious not to make a mistake. It's Guido looking for inside control. Guido in on a shot.
Got to watch himself.
Well, it certainly seems like Jamie's making an attempt to score, and a Piscataway wrestler needs to make an attempt too. He has that. They both have that stalling warning.
Well, there's a little bit of an attempt.
Just enough to keep him alive. And it's Guido. Ooh, ever so close. Supporting parts, two supporting parts must land in bounds, and Jamie's real close.
Piscataway doesn't seem stable.
Maybe he's still a little dazed from the eye. I do see him, he's blinking and seems to be backing, and that's 1 point East Brunswick. Good call by our official.
Okay. Felt that Piscataway was backing up too much for a stall. Oh, he went down hard.
Now remember, he needs to continue to wrestle.
Right. So it is 2-0 with 18 seconds left to go in the second period.
Was on hand the other night, and Jamie picked up his first win against John F. Kennedy. So maybe that helps his confidence a little, and it's got him on track, and maybe he can put two wins in a row together here.
Well, Stu, this has to give that could be a very important point right there, simply because it'll be Piscataway on the bottom to begin this next period.
Well, it's going to be his choice, but more than likely he's going to elect bottom.
Yeah, trying to
good call,
get that
Jim.
escape point.
So Guido here needs to either, ride him out, look to turn him, or be careful not to give up the reversal. It'd be safer to give up the 1 as opposed to the 2. So you're going to look for Guido, if he gets in trouble, just to let him go. That would be the strategy here. He's going to try to keep him down as long as he can.
And at this juncture, perhaps endurance starts to become a factor.
While we have a break in action, I'd like to tell you that Bobby Cankro, Mike Wessler, they're doing a fine job down in East Brunswick recreation level. There's a ton of kids out for the team, and keeps the future looking bright. I know they get a lot of help from Tony Polito as well, and apologize if I'm missing anybody. I know John Mooney, and there's a slew of ex-East Brunswick wrestlers that help out with that program, and that's certainly been a tradition that keeps East Brunswick strong in wrestling.
Well, that's something that I wanted to touch on, because I know in other townships, communities where wrestling is very successful in the high school ranks, you have to believe that the recreation programs really contribute to that. What do we have here?
We have a double stall call,
okay,
which really doesn't have a big effect, other than the fact that if Piscataway's called again, it'll be a 2-point violation.
I understand. So in that respect, Guido is one better.
Well,
okay.
what I find, when it comes to officiating in wrestling, the first bout kind of sets the cadence for the rest of the night, and we do see Frank Sika calling, stalling, so we should probably expect to see it throughout the weight classes.
Well, he went down again real hard, and he is struggling just to get to that position.
So it's Guido 3-1 with a little over a minute to go in the third period. This would be a big win for either team that can escape with a victory here, because it certainly promises to be a close matchup all the way through. We have a great match coming up next between Keith Richings of East Brunswick and Kyle Polson from Piscataway. Both wrestlers having an outstanding season, so get set for a good matchup next as Guido lets him go.
Right.
Maintains a 3-2 lead.
That was a strategy, perhaps at the 1-minute mark. He was instructed to let go.
Well, Guido's best strategy here now is to stay offensive. That's going to be his best defense. He can't afford to give up a takedown. He's been the aggressor.
Piscataway made a nice shot there, but they both sort of tumble out.
Now it
Guido
looks like
holding his
Guido
arm.
That's hurt. Came down on his elbow on the gym floor.
Both teams sensing the importance of this next
Absolutely.
minute.
So it all comes down in the last 50 seconds here. A takedown could win it for either wrestler. Guido needs to stay aggressive. Can't let up here.
Well, he also has to be concerned that he doesn't put himself in a precarious position there, going for the takedown, but yet exposing himself. Seems to have a little trouble with that right elbow.
Well, he's going to have to shake it off and not worry about it now and concentrate on scoring.
And that is the
You know,
key.
he has to avoid the stall call too, and there it is. Referee feels Guido's backing.
And it
we're
is tied.
up 3-3. He put up the wrong wristband. He put up the red, but I'm pretty sure he meant green. That gives us a 3-3 score. As you see, the referee's wearing two wristbands, a green one and a red one. When East Brunswick scores, you know, the points are given with the green wristband, and when Piscataway scores, the red wristband. Guido needs to get back to his base now and square off and hold on to that leg. He cannot afford to give up a takedown with 13 seconds left, as he does. And it quickly goes 5-3 Piscataway. How quickly things can change. That's the excitement in wrestling.
And that's a significant bout.
That is. Piscataway steals a 5-3 win at 103.
And
that puts them on the board first with a 3-0 team score.
Well, in a sense, that's a 6-point reversal because
6-point swing, correct.
Yeah.
And now we have a real interesting matchup. We have Keith Richings, experienced sophomore, but taking on a top-notch freshman in Kyle Polson, a year-round seasoned wrestler, probably the best freshman in Middlesex County right now. So we have a great matchup in store here at 112.
Richens coming in with an 8-3 record. We don't have Polson.
It should be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, we're looking. Well, Polson's is not listed in as being in the top 10.
I'd be willing to believe Polson's undefeated or close to it.
Okay.
As I check the paper, wrestling fan, I haven't seen his name on the loss side too often. In fact, not at all. So I'd be willing to bet.
Well, we'll find out soon.
Got a strong winning percentage. So East Brunswick cannot afford to go in the hole here early, down 3-0 at 103. So we have a stalemate. We're going to get a fresh start in the middle. As we saw at 103, Sika was quick on the stall call, so both wrestlers are going to need to stay aggressive here. Both wrestlers, I believe, respect each other.
We look at the individual records of these team members. Factor into that the fact that East Brunswick has participated in a couple of quality tournaments.
Right.
So a lot of those matches have gone up against quality competition.
Right. Sometimes records could be very deceiving because everybody does not wrestle the same schedule. Kyle, one of his coaches growing up has been his dad and a big influence on his career. Ken Paulson, one of the coaches down at Piscataway and the recreation level, along with Mike Blair and Pat Morgan. A lot of kids out for the team this year in Piscataway, so things are looking good over for the Chiefs too, with good feeder program and good numbers. And Kyle, one of Kyle's coaches has been his dad, Ken, down at that level.
Looks like Richens has an advantage here.
Richens looks like he's trying to score first. He needs to cross face and spin around to get to 2. This match could have other implications. You know, in the 112 weight class for seeding in the county and the red division, 112-pound best wrestler. These could be 2 of the best, along with Ian Gorman of Old Bridge. We have 2 of the best 12-pounders in the red division taking each other on right now.
You see the quality of technique by Polson by being able to avoid
excellent
the
defense. Piscataway has taken bottom as Riching has deferred his choice to the 3rd period. So we're going to go in the 2nd period tied up at 0-0.
This is the 112-pound match between Richings and Paulson. Piscataway winning the first match, 3-0.
Riching also a year-round wrestler. Referee's going to stop that for potentially dangerous. Didn't like the way Paulson's knee was twisted, so we're going to get a fresh start with Richings on top. Richings has come a long way since last season, much improved. Only a sophomore, but you'd already consider him a veteran. A switch and a re-switch. Great counter.
Well, he's got a hold of that leg, does Paulson.
Well, if Richings can hold on to that ankle, he could stay out of trouble and look for another stalemate. Wants to avoid Paulson getting behind him for the reversal. What Richings wants to do now is get square, lengthen his body, and just hold on to that ankle and try to stay square, try to extend himself.
Paulson awarded 2 points.
Yeah, coming around on top. Now Richings got to be careful. He's close to going to his back. You expose your back and you give up back points. Now what Richings wants to do here is pop up, get free, and for the escape, as he does. Excellent maneuver by Richings.
Paulson holding on to a 2-1 lead here in the second period.
We're seeing some good leverage and good technique out of Richings. He's trying the shrug by, trying different combinations. Both wrestlers definitely respecting each other's talents. We get a stalemate call, so we're 2-1 with 20 seconds to go in the second. It's going to be Richings' choice in the third. Look for him probably to elect bottom. Richings doesn't want to give him any points here with 5 seconds left in the second. Needs to pop his head up.
And that is it after 2 periods of wrestling. Paulson holding on to a 2-1 lead over Keith Richings. Injury time.
Okay, actually it's blood time.
That's
different than injury time. You're entitled to 5 minutes of cumulative title of blood time throughout the bout. You can have as many breaks in action as you want, not to exceed 5 minutes. They really have made an attempt in the last couple of years to keep the match moving by shortening injury time, shortening the number of injuries you're allowed to take, putting time limits on blood. And we're seeing a faster dual meet, which was one of the criticisms of the sport in past years. It seems to really been working out.
I notice how the official is scrutinizing what's going on as far as Paulson's recovery.
Well, he's making sure it's legit, not just looking for some water and some air, getting a little pit stop. So what Richings wants to do here is look to get out, look to score.
He does trail 2-1, so he's going to really need this escape point.
Needs to bring his head up. Needs to establish hand control. Needs to get his knees off the mat. Richings very well is aware of the time left and just looking for the right time to make his move. I'm sure he's pacing himself. When do I want to make my move? Beautiful maneuver by Richings.
He could have 2 points here in a second.
Two and maybe more. Yes, he does.
Takes a 3-2 lead now.
I think he just caught Paulson off guard for some back points. We have 2 in the bank and 3 in the bank. Excellent, excellent move by Keith Riching.
A veteran move, if you will.
I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing here today.
Paulson still in trouble. Look at him use his legs.
Keep in mind, you have 2 of the best kids in the county here at 112.
Right.
And Riching with a beautiful maneuver converts the reversal right to the back.
6-2 lead so far. And
there's the
Paulson.
3 from the official to make it official.
And official timeout again. Let's see what it is. Could be more blood time, perhaps.
I don't know what the call is.
No, he called a dangerous move, perhaps.
Okay, we're going to get a fresh start. Now, Richings can't let up here. He needs to stay aggressive. He's got a 4-point lead. He needs to maintain it. He can't ride that lead.
30 seconds left.
That's when you're vulnerable. So the best offense for Richings here is the best defense is to stay offensive. I've said it before, and I can never reiterate it enough how important it is to always keep moving out there and staying aggressive. The minute you let up, you're going to find yourself in trouble.
Paulson in a whole heap of trouble.
Riching really wrestling hard. Maybe just a little bit too much experience over Paulson.
That has to be it. You're talking about a freshman. And Richens does come out on top, 6-2. 6-3, sorry, the final.
Paulson with an escape at the end.
Right.
Little too little, little too late.
And,
so it's a big win for East Brunswick.
And again, that was a freshman that Richens defeated, who is a quality freshman, but will be, I'm sure they'll meet again.
Probably a couple times.
Yep. All right, let's see who we have here at 119.
Looks like Chris Raybar for Piscataway. Here's where that coin toss comes into play. Looks like it's going to be Tony Roberto for East Brunswick. And it's going to be Chris Raybar from Piscataway. It's his first match back from a broken hand.
Just a freshman.
One of those wrestlers that Piscataway was counting on going into the season as one of their standouts. And one of the reasons Piscataway wasn't enjoying good success because he was out of the lineup. So back in there for Piscataway is Chris Raybar, a welcomed addition to the lineup after that hand injury. Piscataway were real happy to get him back. This is his first match. And he's in on a quick takedown.
Worth 2.
On the line.
Tony Roberto. We don't have too much information on him.
Well, we do know Raybar does have a win over Roberto from sophomore year.
All right, correct. He is a senior with a 3-3 record.
His headgear's coming off. We're going to get a fresh start.
Right. Roberto got a 1-point escape, so it's 2-1.
Chris Raybar, a former 103-pounder for Piscataway. Missed a great deal last season also with an injury, so Bill Vava certainly welcomes Raybar's return to the lineup. We're at 2-1, 1 minute into the first period. As we get a look at Tony Roberto and Chris Raybar of Piscataway.
Stu, we got off the subject before during another match, but I wanted to come back to the impact that recreation departments have on wrestling.
Well, that's the feeder program. You'll see a coincidence between strong teams at the varsity level and strong teams with the recreation level. Wrestling has become a year-round sport, and the teams that enjoy the success are the teams that have their wrestlers going year-round and coming up through the ranks. And by the time they get to the high school, some of these guys are seasoned pros and have many years of experience in.
And obviously bears fruit in the high schools.
Absolutely.
Raybar has a 3.
And a beautiful souffle takedown and a fall of Tony Roberto in the first period. Lateral drop right to the back.
148.
A little taunting going on there. And we see our official coming to the head table. I don't know what the call is, but the wrestlers are not allowed to taunt one another. And I don't know what.
Yeah, he's still talking to him.
I don't know what our coach was told, but I'm sure he was warned to keep his wrestlers in line.
Right.
It's going to take our team score to 9-3 in favor of Piscataway going into 125.
Which is a match between Brian Ackerman of East Brunswick, freshman with a 5-4 record, and I believe this is Joe Muniz for Piscataway.
I believe so.
With coming in, he's a senior. He's a 3-8 record. So interesting contrast. check. We have a
Okay.
different wrestler,
So
Corey.
we have one of the 119-pounders that weighed in has moved up to 125.
Corey Gurkovich,
Who has a 32-17 career record.
32-17. All right. Ackerman just a freshman, but still with a winning record. So
And we also see he's got a 3.7 GPA, Jim.
okay,
Not
I don't know
too
how
bad.
I don't know how that translates into the match.
It's nice to see.
Good, and if this becomes a game of wits, Ackerman perhaps has the advantage today. We'll see. It's nice to see the freshman.
Okay, so we have both wrestlers in an
Impacting.
ear-to-ear, head-to-head tie-up. When you watch at home, you don't quite understand the amount of energy that goes into wrestling, and sometimes it might just look so easy home watching on TV, but to get out there and do it for 6 minutes, they say it's the most demanding sport and really does put a strain on you. And it's quite intense, Jim. So sometimes it feels like the longest 6 minutes of your life out there. And, you know, these kids go in and do it day in and day out.
No particular advantage at this point.
Ackerman also a football player. 6-4 on the year.
This is blood time.
Well, the blood time has stopped, and I think now we're on injury time.
Okay.
Blood time for both. That's what we found out. Okay. So the clock going for both wrestlers. Okay, we just cut Piscataway's blood time. He stopped bleeding. East Brunswick continues to bleed, so now we're just on East Brunswick's time. They use a disinfectant on the mat to wipe up the blood.
Right.
Attempt to keep the sports safe and healthy. We see Glenn Pazinko carrying to his wrestler as the blood's getting cleaned up. We get a look at one of the assistant trainers cleaning up the mat.
There's Pazinko,
Now we get a look.
former East Brunswick wrestler himself,
Uh-huh.
state finalist in the 189-pound class. I remember that match. He went up against the South Jersey wrestler. Can't remember the name of the kid, but Glenn had,
Oh, give me a minute.
yeah, Glenn had gone through, he had gone undefeated all the way up there, and that was a well-anticipated match.
It's at the tip of my tongue, and I just can't think of who you mean.
Sam
Darnell Myers.
Darnell Myers.
There we
there
go.
you go. Okay.
And then Coach Pazinko later went on to be an All-American at North Carolina.
Was he an All-American?
That's right.
Okay.
If he wasn't, we just made him one.
Well, I will tell you this. North Carolina coach is a friend of mine, Bill Lamb. And Bill would give me a call and ask if there was anybody up in New Jersey worth looking at. And I had mentioned this 189-pounder for East Brunswick, and he had said, well, they had already had their sights set on a New York State wrestler, whoever that might be. And then the next thing I heard, Glenn was invited down to UNC for a look-see. So apparently it did not work out for that New York State wrestler, and that was to Glenn's benefit.
Sure. Another wrestler in the same time frame went down to North Carolina, Ben Overly from Warren Hills, and was a teammate of Coach Pazinko's.
That's correct.
Who also is back coaching his high school team now at Warren Hills.
No score going into the second period here in a match that really hasn't seen as much action except for a couple stoppages. So it's Corey Gurkovich versus Brian Ackerman.
Well, talking to Coach Valva before the match, he said this is one of the pivotal matches that could be a toss-up that can go either way. So certainly any team that could pick up some points here be that much, that much better off in the overall team score.
Right.
So it's Gurkovich on top, trying to work a half. Ackerman in on that leg. He needs to free his far leg. He needs to kick that back, get off his knees, and try to come up to his feet. Gurkovich preventing that with a cross-face far arm. Now there's nothing on his legs. Now's the time for him to pop up. It rolls through, avoids the back points. But shoulders are now within 90. So got 2 in the bank for Piscataway. If he can keep him down there for 5 seconds or longer, the 2 will change to a 3. The points are not awarded till they leave the situation.
Ackerman expending a lot of energy here.
Well, Ackerman wants to avoid the pin.
Needs to, really.
The ever so crucial team points. He needs to fight and just keep moving.
However, unsuccessful. Ackerman is contesting the official's call.
That's never a wise thing to do either, Jim, as Gurkovich with a key pin for Piscataway. Building on that team score.
And I did not see the time of that. I have to apologize. It was in the second period.
We're about midway. Call it 3 minutes.
Which extends the lead now to 15-3.
Okay, now we get a look at the younger of the 2 Iannazo brothers.
That being Chris. I'm sorry, Nick Iannazo, who is a freshman, junior, with a 6-5 record, going up against Derek Tranchina.
Tranchino, 5-5 on the season, 3rd in the Raider Invitational Tournament this year.
This looks like to be an even record, or even match.
This could be a good matchup. Another one of those pivotal matchups. They did wrestle last year, and Iannazo won by a score of 8-6. So certainly a very balanced match here. East Brunswick desperate need of a victory to get back into the team score here, trailing 15-3 at 125. I'm sorry, at 130. Nick Jeff, one of the coaches in the East Brunswick system throughout the years, put a lot of mat time in with his sons. I'm sure it pays dividends when your dad's a wrestling coach. Chris and Nick both have benefited by that.
Iannazo has a leg.
See what he can do with it. He's needs to pull it in, step behind, pop his head. Now he needs to get off his knees. He needs the tripod and cut the corner.
Tranchina, sorry. Trying to get out of it, and he does. So we're in a neutral position again.
So we're scoreless in the first.
Now it's Tranchina with the advantage.
Trentino in on a takedown. Beautiful dump, converts it for a takedown. It's gonna put him up 2-0 here in the first with seconds left.
So that'll do it for the first period. Derek Tranchina with a 2-0 lead over Nick Iannazo. Again, both of these wrestlers fairly even. Iannazo 6-5, Tranchina 5-5.
Iannazo does have a win over Tranchino, 8-6 from last year. Let's see if he can maintain that edge. Okay, Nazo needs to establish hand control as he reaches back for the head.
Inazo fights to escape, and he does.
Beautiful reversal by Inazo. Well, we've seen some good technique employed by both Inazo here and reaching back at 112.
Question, Stu, why is not Inazo awarded a point as well for escape?
The referee felt it was a continuous move. He never really broke. He just continued through for the reversal.
Okay.
You know, if they had separated a little longer, it would have been maybe a 1 and 2. But I do agree with the call on the reversal.
So the wrestlers are tied 2-2. Tranchina on the down position. Minute 6 left to go in the second period. Piscataway holding on to a 15-3 advantage in the team score after 4 matches.
Piscataway a much better team now than they were earlier in the season, getting some kids back from injury. Ray Barr back certainly adds a key element to the lineup.
Well, they have an 0-3-1 record, which is uncharacteristic of this team.
Well, they've wrestled the best so far. Unfortunately, I know one of those losses was to Old Bridge. They've also already ran into South Brunswick, you know, second and third ranked team in the county. So they've maybe gotten the bulk of the obstacles out of the way.
Boy, this is a grudge match here. Neither wrestler given
Inazo
anything.
still in control.
Tranchina took advantage of that
And there's
situation.
the reversal.
And he takes a 4-2
There's a full
lead.
Nelson, so Inazo's going to get on board for a penalty point. It's going to make it 4-3. Just a mental mistake there by Tranchina. You can only have a half Nelson. If you put 2 of those in at one time, they call it a full Nelson, and that's illegal. Puts too much pressure on the neck, and referee just missed a locking hands call. So got away with one there as Inazo breaks free for a neutral to tie it up at 4. Good excitement to wind down the second period.
And that was a good point for Inazo in that there was only 3 seconds left when he escaped. Any more wasted time and he wouldn't have had that advantage. So it's a 4-4 match going into this last period. And needless to say, East Brunswick down 15-3 desperately needs this match.
And he's going to take bottom. So Inazo with his work cut out for him here. You might see him let him go and try to take him down. Let's see what Inazo's strategy is, and that is the strategy he's going to go with. He's going to give him 1 and attempt to score 2.
Inazo feeling that he might have an advantage in endurance, perhaps. Tranchina with a 5-4 advantage in the match. This is a 130-pound.
Tranchina trying to work a front headlock. Inazo definitely seems like he's got a little more gas left.
Now we're in neutral. Well, we were, I'm sorry.
Coach Pazinko looking for the takedown call there.
Didn't get it.
Just slightly out of bounds, and we're going to get a fresh start in the middle. And Inazo certainly being the aggressor here. Tranchina can't ride that 1-point lead. He needs to stay aggressive too, or he's going to, have.
Can't be backing up.
No, he'll be in trouble for stalling again. Trying to get that out.
He's doing nothing right now.
We're at 5-4 with 1:17 to go. Inazo needing a takedown and a win to put East Brunswick on the scoreboard. The way the team score is in wrestling, it's winner take all. So regardless of what your bout score is, whether you win by 1 or 7, it's going to have the same implication for the team score. So Inazo in desperate need of a takedown here.
He's going to have to shoot.
Inazo a junior. Tranchina a sophomore. There's the stolen call.
Caught him for backing up, so it's tied 5-5.
A lot of
it was
time,
a warning. It was a warning.
That was a warning.
Okay.
You get one freebie. Bill Valva getting up to plead his case. Certainly not that he disagrees with the call, but certainly maybe to get into the referee's head. A little strategy employed by the coaches as well. Trying to plant a seed in the coach's, in the official's head.
40 seconds.
Ginazzo with the aggressor. Trenchino's strategy here is just not to give anything up.
He certainly does seem to be holding on, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Now he shoots.
Well, just trying to lock up the leg, trying to prevent Ginazzo from scoring. Ginazzo needs to jump out of bounds here and get a fresh start. So he's got 18 seconds to score. Now Tranchina cannot back up. He needs to go forward. Sika has been calling stalling, so let's see what happens here. With 18 seconds to go, can Ginazzo convert to a takedown?
This could be a referee's decision here.
Oh, 5 seconds to go.
It's not going to do
We're
it.
not going to see the stall call.
Nope.
Okay, so it's Tranchina stealing a win over Ginazzo, 5-4 at 130 pounds, adding to that team score.
And that might be a big win.
Excellent match.
Yeah, in the scheme of
Ginazzo
things.
came up a little bit short, but one of the better bouts we've seen thus far here today.
And at 135,
And he'll be back.
I believe this is Master Giovanni for Piscataway,
This is.
who is undefeated.
And one of the best wrestlers in the county at 135. He comes in here at 9-0.
Justin Gottlieb, a junior with a 1-5 record, and Gottlieb's mission has to be to avoid a pin.
Let's get some of Master Giovanni's credentials in here real quick while we have a chance. He's second in districts, second in the regions, third in the regions 2 years ago. Standout wrestler.
And he hopes to make short work of Justin Gottlieb.
And he has some deadly throws. Look for Master Giovanni. Do some upper body ties. He has a nice headlock, nice lateral drop. Also a football and track athlete at Piscataway.
Extremely quick on his feet.
He had a huge upset victory in the regionals last year over John Rodriguez to get him to the region finals. Seems to peak around tournament time, this Master Giovanni, as he's in on a leg and looks to lace. Needs to get both legs for the takedown, as he does. Beautiful work on the boundary by Master Giovanni.
To get those 2 points, take a 2-0 lead.
Our team score is 18-3 in favor of Piscataway. Things going all the Chiefs' way thus far. They won the close ones.
The fact that Master Giovanni is not releasing for an escape point means that he believes that he's going to be able to finish with a pin here.
He's a strong wrestler. Like I said, he is one of the best in the county at 135. Has a sight set on possibly continuing his wrestling at East Stroudsburg next year.
Okay.
Fine wrestling school just over the Jersey border in the Poconos, my alma mater. We're going to get a fresh start. We're going to go back to the middle. 1:15 to go in the first period. Mastro Giovanni up 2-0 here in the first period.
Well, we get an escape here for Gottlieb, making it 2-1. And
Gottlieb doing well here.
yeah, he's expending a lot of energy just trying to avoid the Piscataway wrestlers.
It's a tall task to come out here and have to take on one of the best in the county. So Gottlieb with his work cut out for him.
2-1 after 1 period, which is in some ways a victory for Gottlieb.
Gottlieb also a good student, not to be outdone, with coming in here with 3.8 GPA. Member of the French Club, National Honor Society. Mastro Giovanni on top in the score and on top in position. Start the second period. Now he's going to let him up.
Yeah,
and
here.
shoot for the takedown.
Coach apparently gave him some instructions to go for these points now.
Didn't let him go, but he's trying to work the cradle from the feet. Now he lets him go.
Tie score, believe it or not.
Good upper body wrestler, Mastro Giovanni. Let's see if he looks for the inside control.
Got a leg lock now.
He's in on a double. Steps out of bounds.
And showing good sportsmanship there.
Yeah, good call by the official as well. Seeing they stepped out of bounds, we're going to get a fresh start.
Mastro Giovanni could have easily lifted him and
let him go. Gottlieb really doing well here. Staying with Mastro Giovanni. That name kind of even sounds intimidating, Jim. Mastro Giovanni. As he's in on a takedown on the edge. Increases his lead to 4-2. Well, the cream of the crop at 135 in the county might be Dan Rubenstein of North Brunswick.
Okay.
And Mastro Giovanni right there with him. Mastro Giovanni started the season at 140 and has come down to 135.
.43 seconds left to go in the second period. It's a 4-2 advantage for Mastro Giovanni over Justin Gottlieb.
Well, Gottlieb's aware of the team score. He knows what he has to do. He can help the team by, keeping this a close match, not giving up any more points than he has to.
Right.
And you never know. Anybody could be caught. Anybody could be beat on any given day. But Gottlieb working hard to avoid the big move by Mastro Giovanni.
Calls a stall warning.
Well, the referee feels he's not being aggressive enough, maybe being a little too defensive. I'm not so sure I agree with the call. I think maybe he's just being a little overpowered under there.
Right.
And Mastro Giovanni knows what he needs to do out there, too. He knows he's one of the team leaders for Piscataway. He knows when he goes onto the mat, Bill Vava's looking for 6. Gottlieb, good strategy, trying to wrestle a match on the perimeter. Knows if he gets in trouble, he could jump out. And it's red warrant for stalling.
Don't think so.
Piscataway.
I don't think so.
No, I guess the official feels he's riding the legs. Interesting call.
Just 6 seconds left to go in the second period.
No complaints from East Brunswick on the call.
And I'm sure they'll just ride this out. And the score remains 4-2 after 2 periods in this 135-pound match between Justin Gottlieb of East Brunswick and Joe Mastro Giovanni of Piscataway. So 2 minutes of wrestling left, unless Mastro Giovanni.
Well, look for Mastro Giovanni to work some painting combinations. Look for him to get real aggressive here.
It's 2 more there. Takes
the only time the wrestler can legally jump out of bounds is when you're in a pinning situation and you're trying to avoid being pinned. That's the only time you can legally get away with, so to speak, jumping out of bounds. There is a penalty for jumping out of bounds if you make it too blatant. It's called fleeing the mat. It's a 1-point violation. Giovanni looks like he's trying to work the cradles now.
Was that an escape? Well, he has one now.
We're at 7-2.
7-3.
7-3 on the escape. One more for the escape. I stand corrected with 1:30 to go in the third period. And Gottlieb has maintained his assignment.
What's the point differential before it becomes a majority?
Okay, we're at 9-3. We have a 6-point differential. If that differential grows to 8, that would be a major decision and a 4-point swing in the team score.
Right.
So Master Giovanni has his sights set on a major now. As you see, he's gonna go back into that cradle from the optional start.
That was an interesting maneuver right there.
Well, he had us thinking escape, and
He did that before,
yeah, and he worked it into the cradle. Let's see what he does here.
demonstrating his quickness.
I would think he knows and is aware of that team score and is either going to look for that major. Again, back to the cradle, attempted cradle, as he lets him go. Now he's going to need to take him down twice to get that to 8, because on every escape, it's only a 1-point differential. There's the dump. Let's see if he tries it again with a minute to go. Will he try it again?
It's 11-4.
I'd be willing to bet if he can't turn him here real fast that we're going to see him let him go. Arm extended way too far. Master Giovanni, you cannot pin the wrestler on the line. If Gottlieb can get over to the line, safe haven.
But it doesn't work. And with just 40 seconds left to go, 4:20 being the time. Excuse me, 5:20. Master Giovanni gets the pin. And now we're looking at a 24-3 lead for Piscataway. Stu, you warned us.
Yeah.
This Piscataway team.
Much different team than they were earlier in the season.
Right. So
On
now,
paper, they had the makings of a good team. Let's see what the strategy is going to be. We see for East Brunswick, Ganazo loosening up, but let's see who they send. Well, for Piscataway, it's Brian Changaris, one of the more experienced wrestlers in their lineup. Comes in here at 5-3. He's a defending district finalist, I believe. One of Piscataway's strong wrestlers.
and that is Jason Solitsky.
I'll go with that.
Okay. Pardon us for our little uncertainty at this point, because
We don't get any warning.
yeah, we don't
or
get a warning,
notice.
and we're relying on the score table to send us who it is. So this is Jason Solitsky,
Well,
who
we
is
see both teams juggling their lineup a little bit, trying to get the right matchups. Christian Nazo doesn't come out. Maybe he's just not quite healed from his injury.
You think that Glenn is throwing up the red flag on this one with the score 24-3?
I think he was waiting to see the matchups. I don't think he's thrown up the flag just yet. I think he's got some studs on the bench. He still has Gagnon and Corio and Bruno. So, I mean, if he can keep it within a reasonable point margin going to the last 3, East Brunswick looks good on paper at the end of the lineup. Although Corio could be our best matchup of the night if it works out that he takes on Mike Reitmeyer of Piscataway.
Solitsky gets a warning.
But certainly, you know, we've got some good things coming up for East Brunswick at the end of the lineup. Sometimes just the way the matchups are, Jim, and one team can have great success over another, then wrestle a team you'd think they'd beat and come up short, just the way the matchups work out. Oh, thus far, East Brunswick has not matched up real well in the lower weights here against Piscataway. And then on the same token, you know, Piscataway did not match up real well the other night with South Brunswick.
All right, so Shingaris takes a 2-0 lead over Solitsky after 1 period.
Shingaris a little deceiving.
In what respect?
Well, you know, doesn't have great leverage, not a real tall wrestler.
Okay.
You
Showed his
know,
quickness there, though.
Window dressing doesn't look like much, but on the mat, real quick.
Well,
Good
now-
seasoned wrestler, and you know, quite a strong point in the Piscataway lineup.
Well, he believes that he has.
He's in on another beautiful duck under takedown for 2 quick takedowns back to back there.
6-1. Very extreme quickness.
Having his way here.
Slitsky, let's
Well, it's the experience.
determine what he is.
You
He's
know,
a sophomore with a 1-2 record.
It's the experience coming through here, and Changaris is a veteran, senior. Crediting former wrestler Sean Morosi with his success.
This being who now?
This being Changaris.
Okay.
Crediting Morosi, a former Piscataway wrestler, and Morosi now wrestling for Rutgers. State place winner for Piscataway last year.
Meanwhile, Solitsky credits Corio as having the greatest influence on his career.
Well, you'll find that a lot. A young wrestler learns from a more experienced teammate, takes him aside, teaches him a few moves, works with them, and helps him improve. February 4th and 5th, while we have a second, is the Greater Middlesex County Tournament, where all 21 teams in the county square off at Piscataway and have the annual county tournament.
Uh-oh. Solitsky in trouble here.
Taking Solitsky to his back. Solitsky needs to bridge here. He needs to stay off his back. East Brunswick not in a position to be able to give up any more team points here.
That's for sure. This would be disastrous if this ends in a pin.
Got 10 seconds. Needs to bridge. And there's the fall with 4 seconds to go in the period.
So Shigaris
putting Piscataway up 30-3. Things not going well here for East Brunswick.
3 pins in the 6 victories for Piscataway. Keith Richens at 112, the only East Brunswick victor thus far. So the score is 30-3.
Well, the pins are the point makers. Sam Mull for East Brunswick.
Coming in with a 6-4 record. He's a junior.
Let's see who Piscataway sends to the mat. Taking on Matt Bailey,
who was listed originally at 152.
We must have weighed in at 145. You can wrestle in the match the weight class you weighed in at or one higher.
So some disappointment for East Brunswick thus far. They have 27 points that they need to make up some way, shape, or form.
Well, it's not over to the end,
right,
but East Brunswick certainly put themselves in a hole here.
We have 8 matches left.
As Mull in on a takedown.
It's taking 2-0 lead.
And locked hands. I'm not too sure I agree with the call. You can lock your hands if you're in the process of going to a pitting combination. And I did feel that was a pitting combination. Not so sure I agree with the call. As long as the Piscataway wrestler was in continuous motion to his back, the hands could stay locked. The referee felt it wasn't a pitting combination and gave the 1 point for locking hands.
So it's a 2-1 score.
That rule is slightly different than college, where you can stay locked and the referee is required to tell the wrestlers the position and if they're able to stay locked. In high school, the referee does not have to tell you.
Mull not about to give any inch here.
Well, Mull could certainly get East Brunswick back on the board.
Really needs to.
He seems to be in control here. It's Bailey with a 7-3 record. Not too shabby. But it's Mull on top, 2-1 here at 145. Mull comes in with a 6-4 record.
Tied up now with the escape, 2-2.
His second year of wrestling. Varsity for the Bears. It's Bailey trying to score if he could pop his head out. He'll come up with a takedown. Just ran out of time.
So after one period, it's 2-2 between Matt Bailey and Sam Mull. Bailey elects to go down.
Mull working a bar. Needs to tie up the legs, needs to get Bailey flat. Needs to stay heavy, get his knee into him, and drive. Trying to tilt, trying to do a near tilt. Not quite enough. You need to break 90 degrees for back points. Back points are awarded by exposing either the blades or the scapulas to the mat. As Bailey manages to get free for one.
And immediately goes to the leg, leading 3-2.
With 3 unanswered points to take the lead, 3-2 over Mull.
Sam trying to leverage him.
It's Bailey with the dub.
For another 2 points.
I think the problem for Mull here is a little too much muscle, not enough, with the moves. You see Bailey coming up with the technique and scoring the points. Mull was trying to bull him, and technique wins.
Thus far here.
Okay, what Mull has to do here is get his head off the mat. Again, establish hand control, explode out. Bailey trying to work a near cradle. Mull needs to extend himself here, try to make himself long, try to pop his head out and get his arm through, as he does. Beautiful move by Mull. Now if Mull can belly down, Mull can extend himself.
11 seconds.
Mull needs to kick that leg out.
Under 10 seconds here.
The referee still feels Piscataway's in control. Let's see how the referee's gonna call this. Piscataway's still in control throughout that maneuver.
Says
no
nothing.
reversal, no back. As much as it seemed like Mull was in control, he just didn't meet the criteria for the reversal and the back points.
Unfortunately, Mull was not able to
ever so close. Good call.
break Bailey's lock.
The crowd displeased on the call, but it was the correct one.
It was the correct one. Bailey had his arms locked.
Well, it was our official waited and saw how it was gonna end up and made the right call.
And a lot of energy expended by both wrestlers here.
10 more seconds in the period, and we might have had a different outcome.
Well,
Mull certainly appears to be the stronger of the two.
He does, and his first mission is to get released from this right now.
Well, he's got 2 minutes left, and let's see what he can do with it.
Starting a maneuver.
Good step over by Mull. Mull coming strong now.
However, can't hold it.
Piscataway again manages just to stay in the thick of things.
He's going to have those back points. 5 seconds. Let's see.
Mull digging himself in a hole.
Let's
Down
get those
8-2.
3. And that may be insurmountable.
Well, the pin is the forever equalizer. If Mull can get Bailey on his back, the score's not going to matter. And that looks like what Mull might need here.
Both wrestlers exhausted.
Mull can't relax here. With 1:11 left, he needs to get explosive. Let's get his head off the mat.
Under a minute. Sam's got a leg now.
Good combination by Mull. Starts with a sit.
Has to bring
Touch
him
the
over.
Corner. Look for Mull, put in a half now. Mull needs to take him to his back.
8-4 is the score.
Mole does not have the luxury of time.
30 seconds.
Needs a pinning combination. Certainly neither coach anticipated the score to be 30-3 at this point. And it's Mole working hard.
Just can't do it, however.
As Piscataway's warned for stalling. It's not going to have much of an effect on the match with 2 seconds to go.
And the final is 8-4. Bailey with the win. Making the lead now, 36-3. Piscataway on a roll now. Ever since the 112-pound match, they've won 6 in a row. And in the 152-pound match upcoming, we have Kevin Gruber from Piscataway versus John Clay. John, a freshman with a 2-3 record. After this, things will start to improve markedly for East Brunswick as the better wrestlers come on board.
I know Piscataway's on the verge of building themselves an insurmountable lead. I think it is still within East Brunswick's ability to catch them.
They're going to require some pins.
They're going to need some pins.
Consecutive pins.
You got it.
So
I don't have any information on Gruber. Do have some on Clay.
a little.
Well, he was in the junior varsity division. He was the Hunter and Central tournament champion, which is a good credential.
Absolutely.
Credits his greatest influences in wrestling to Gene Lazark and Bob Cancro. Bob Cancro, a former East Brunswick High School coach, and now
Gene
down
Lazark,
to
that's a
recreation
familiar
pro.
name.
Gene Lazark, a former East Brunswick standout, now has a wrestling club. Something tells me John must go to that club.
2 points for Gruber.
Clay only a freshman.
Well, that's the thing that I notice about the lower weights, which is not unusual in itself, but to have a freshman, but sort of dominated by East Brunswick.
Well, East Brunswick has a good mix of freshmen, sophomores, which is going to certainly help them next season. They have a good freshman team down at Churchill this year. So look for East Brunswick to be back in the thick of things. It's Clay on a reversal on the edge.
Which means the score is tied 2-2.
Good call by our official as we go out of bounds. So we're tied up here at 2-2. 42 seconds to go in the first.
.28 seconds left to go in the first period of this 152-pound match between John Clay of East Brunswick and Kevin Gruber. Piscataway leading the match 33-3.
Clay working an arm lever. Clay 2-3 in varsity competition for the Bears. To be able to wrestle varsity as a freshman is such a plus in the long run. The experience you build for your your sophomore, junior, and senior season.
At the same time, Stu, is there somewhat concern for some of the inexperienced wrestlers that put themselves in jeopardy of injury?
Well, it could be a little mentally frustrating, but believe it or not, there's not a great opportunity for injury anymore in wrestling than any other sport. A lot of safeguards are in wrestling to avoid injury. Some of the injuries that are in wrestling are ones you least think of being common in other sports. Cauliflower ear. That's why it's so important that you see these wrestlers wearing headgear. But overall, wrestling, a safe sport, a soft mat, and well-conditioned athletes. Most of the injuries, you know, are freak.
You make it so attractive to be out there.
There's probably more injuries that occur in practice than you see in competition.
Okay.
Of course, there's a lot more hours spent in practice than in competition as well. But wrestling is not the injury-prone sport you expect. I'm sure if you had a long talk with Phil Hostler, the trainer here, I'm sure other sports come in, you know, higher in the injury assessment pool than wrestling.
2-2 is the score here in the 152-pound match. We're in the second period. 1:26 left to go.
Piscataway coached by Bill Valva, assisted by Larry Lester. Two veterans have been around the sport a long time. East Brunswick, coached by Glenn Pazinko. Assisted by Joe Shateri and Andy Scanlon.
Clay with a little bit of an advantage here, perhaps.
Clay on top.
Official says no.
We're gonna get a fresh start. Managers for East Brunswick: Jennifer Wentz, Faye Bronzo, Carrie Moeller, Carrie Devine, Chantel Hagan, and Shannon Scalen. We're all tied up at 2-2. Get a look at Bill Valva yelling instructions in to Piscataway wrestler Kevin Gruber, reminding him it's 2-2. We got 46 seconds to score. Let's see if it wakes up Gruber. Clay staying strong on that bar, trying to pull him back for back points, and he's successful. Picking up near fall points.
Did he get him?
Got two in the bank.
Okay. So he's up 4-2 as soon as it becomes official.
Yeah, as soon as they leave the situation, the points are awarded.
And then now he has them. It's 4-2. 20 seconds left to go in the second period. So we have an unusual situation here. An East Brunswick wrestler is ahead.
For our official, Frank Sika, doing a fine job here today. Anytime you get two teams in a heated contest, it always puts a little more pressure on the official. Coaches are looking for whatever they can get out of you. Just need to shut that all down and ignore the crowd, ignore the coaches, and call it like you see it. And sometimes that's easier said than done. Looks so easy sitting here to call a wrestling match, but to actually get out there and do it, a little more difficult than it appears.
So we have one period to go here in this 152-pound match. Clay ahead by a 4-2 score over Gruber. Clay just a freshman.
Doing the job here for the Bears. Maybe this will get them back on track. We're at 152.
Means there's 5 matches left after this. You've got Matt Colbeck and Kevon Green waiting in the wings for East Brunswick for the 160-pound match. And
171 could be our feature batch of the day between Mike Rittmeyer and Tom Corio.
all right, we'll wait for that one.
Two of the county's best at 171.
That's
Perhaps
2 matches
some,
ahead.
Lineup juggling might come into play, so we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out.
Minute 29 left in the match.
1 point East Brunswick. Not quite sure why. Let's see what the call is.
Could be a
Neutral.
point.
A neutral, okay.
5-2.
We're at 5-2.
Now, why was the East Brunswick
Piscataway wrestler lost control.
Okay.
East Brunswick wrestler wasn't quite in total control, but it was evident the Piscataway wrestler was out of control, so the official awarded 1 point.
Okay. Clay not being flashy here, but I'll tell you what, he's
Piscataway call for backing up, warning stalling.
John has to stay out of trouble here.
No, not a lot of room to play with. Can't really afford to give up a takedown. Needs to get in on that leg and 2 arms on that and pull it in.
He's got it.
If he can hold on to that leg and either hope for a stalemate or step over, can't afford to go up 2 here. Clay wrestling smart, using that arm as a block.
45 seconds.
Not allowing Gruber to come around. Referee stopping the match. Stalemate, we're gonna get a fresh start. Let's get a look at John Clay tying his shoe. Getting ready to resume here. 44 seconds to go in the 3rd period.
Gotta watch himself, does Clay.
Good move by Clay, squaring up.
Now he might be a little injured or what?
Looks like he must have a little groin pull.
Well, I don't know of any groin pull that's little.
Well, maybe took a shot in the midsection.
He's hurting.
He's taking an injury time with 30 seconds to go. His first time out. We get a look at Phil Hostler and Glenn Pazinko. Tending to John Clay here at 1:52. And we resume, we'll have 30 seconds to go.
I think he's hitting that button at 10-second intervals.
Yeah, could be right.
And we have 29 seconds left to go.
Quite impressed with what I see here, Jim, from John Clay. Only a freshman.
Right.
Strong-looking wrestler.
Gruber knows he's in trouble.
It's nice to see a talented freshman for the Bears.
And he's going to hold on for a win here. Match is going to end in Clay's favor, 5-2, and that's going to bring East Brunswick a little closer now in the overall scheme of things. They're still down 36-6. I think the official just raised the hand of the Piscataway wrestler by mistake. Doesn't even realize it. There you go, being corrected. And Clay is going into the locker room, and they're going to chase him down. And the official's going to let him know that he raised the wrong hand. You didn't catch that, did you, Stu?
I was looking at my notes.
I know.
And,
it was sort of funny.
I'm glad you saw it, so I don't look like a total fool. You're saving me here.
No, it's just that the official, I guess, has to do it, huh?
Well, the official's keeping it official.
Now they're going to bring the other wrestler out? Or he's just going to raise his hand?
I think he's just going to raise his hand.
There you go.
Get a nice round of applause from the home crowd here.
So the 160-pound match is upcoming, and Matt Kolbeck, who is in his first varsity match, believe it or not, against Todd Naprovnik.
Okay, Matt's been around. I don't know if that's been properly reported to us.
Okay, we'll find it. He is a freshman, right?
No, I believe Matt's a junior.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is Matt Kolbeck. He has a 5-4 record, and he is a junior.
And he's taking on Todd. Let's see if we can pronounce this one. I don't know where these Piscataway guys are coming up with these names here today. Napra.
I would call it Napravnik.
All right.
Napravnik.
I'm going to call him Todd.
Very good. And as we watch those injury time or blood time, don't know which.
So East Brunswick back on the board at 152 with a win by John Clay. Let's see if the momentum can carry over here to 160 with Matt Kolbeck.
Bloody nose. So this is our little lull in the match. And we're back in action here. Two points by Napravnik. He takes a 2-0 lead, does Napravnik, over Kolbeck.
Kolbeck trying to reverse them. Running out of room, they're on the edge. Kolbeck wants to stay in bounds so he could score. And Piscataway wrestler's smart move by taking him out to avoid giving up any points. Remain on top. This is probably the best 0-3-1 team in the state here, Piscataway. And I think the only reason they're 0-3-1 is the competition they've ran up against so far. You know, tough loss to Bridgewater, South Plainfield, and Old Bridge. Those are about three of the best teams you can wrestle.
Bridgewater, I wasn't aware.
Surprisingly
up
strong
in the
team
higher
this year.
echelon.
Yeah,
Are they? Okay.
They kind of fooled everybody this year and just came out of nowhere and having great success. They gave each Old Bridge a go as well.
Stu, I guess everybody is pointing toward Old Bridge and South Plainfield when it gets down to the GMCs.
Yeah,
Perhaps South Brunswick.
I think they meet each other on the 29th in a dual meet. That should pack the house, and the winner of that should inevitably be #1 in the county and #1 in the Red Division.
Right, and of course things take on a different scheme when you're doing in the tournament because of the fact that it's not head-to-head competition.
Correct. A lot of the matchups come into play. A good tournament team, not necessarily as a good dual meet team. You know, the cream seems to rise to the top in the tournaments, and you can have a good tournament team and at the same time have a couple holes in your lineup.
Right. Team that used to be somewhat dominant as we end the first period here with Napravnik holding on to a 2-0 lead over Matt Kolbeck. Team South River seems to be a little bit down.
Well, it's
lately.
a smaller school, a Group 1 school. They always seem to have a few standout studs in the lineup who are able to score points for them in tournaments. But you know, because of the size of the school, sometimes have trouble getting 14 competitive wrestlers, but always seem to do well in tournaments because they always seem to have those few big guns. We have a matchup with South River, February 11th. It'll be at South River this year, but like all the East Brunswick fans that come out and support the team, it's always a big rivalry whenever East Brunswick and South River get together. February 11th at 7 o'clock.
That's going to be at South River this year.
Yeah,
Stu.
yeah. Regardless of team records, whenever those two teams get together, it's always a barn burner. I remember a couple years ago, South River was, I think, 11-0, and East Brunswick was below 500, and East Brunswick went in there and did the job. So everything seems, all the stats and statistics seems to go out the window when the Bears and the Rams get together.
Always a few side bets going on in that match.
We don't have an official Jimmy the Greek line yet, but when we do, we'll let you know. But everybody from East Brunswick is asked to come out and support the Bears that night in South River, February 11th. I'm not sure. Is that Valentine's Day, Jim?
No, that would be the 14th. And Stu,
Okay.
you should know that. Being a recent father of a newborn, which
Yeah.
I understand was the first first baby born in East Brunswick Township.
Well, it wasn't the plan, but that's the way it worked out, and I'm excited about it.
Terrific.
As Kolbeck is going to his back.
And he got it.
And that might be an insurmountable lead now for Piscataway. They're going to take a 39-6 lead with just 4 bouts to go.
4:41.
24 and
Being the time.
6:30. Yeah, it's going to put it out of reach for East Brunswick. But now we're wrestling for some individual respect and some personal stats. It's Kolbeck. I don't know if we can get a look at him on the camera, but the gaping gash in his forehead he just picked up in that last bout.
And it says 39-6
There
on the
it
clock.
is. You get a look at the forehead. Looks like a cut opened up.
It says 39-6 on the score clock, but that was 6 points, and it should be 42-6, correct?
No, that's right. They just put the points up real fast.
Okay.
And now the ever-anticipated matchup, Tom Corio and Mike Reitmeyer. This promises to be the featured bout of the day.
So we'll just enjoy this.
So with the team score out of contention, it's Corio just looking to improve on his undefeated record and try to chalk up another victory. And he's got a fierce opponent, Mike Reitmeyer of Piscataway.
Because it was 33.
Mike Reitmeyer coming in at 9-0, 59-16 on his career, and a huge stats, huge list of accomplishments. He's a Hillsborough Invitational Tournament champion, Mount Olive Invitational Tournament champion, Westfield Blue Devil Tournament champion, and he's 2-time district finalist. And on top of all that, maintains a 3.7 GPA, undecided on his future education, but maybe wants to get a look at Rutgers or UPenn.
University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, he's also a 3-time varsity baseball player for the Chiefs. So a well-rounded Mike Reitmeyer taking on the ever-so hometown favorite in Tom Corio. Corio was the Home News Wrestler of the Week last week.
What have these guys done against each other? Do we
I
know?
believe Corio beat Reitmeyer the last time they wrestled. I'm not sure of the score, but it was a good bout, and Corio did come out on top.
And you can tell that each wrestler has respect for each other.
And I got respect for both coaches. Where the match is out of contention, the matchup could have been avoided by some lineup maneuvering. Both coaches weren't concerned about one of the wrestlers picking up a loss, but rather picking up a good quality opponent, which will help him as the season goes on.
Corio grabs the leg.
So good move by Bill Valva, not trying to avoid Corio. It's Corio scoring first with a takedown, taking Reitmeyer almost into an Alcarius backpoint situation. Reitmeyer just managing to get out. Corio just relentless, looking for the fall.
Reitmeyer gets the escape, so
Well,
it's 2-1.
Kind of a cheapie on the line.
Sounds like an East Brunswick fan talking there.
Well, I don't know if there's so much an escape or Corio just lost him trying to improve his position.
Score is 39-6.
Corio's
stand
brother
corrected.
Dan, a former East Brunswick wrestler and Middlesex County College wrestler. As we often see, wrestling a family affair. One brother wrestles or the dad, and passes it on.
And a quick first period
Well,
ends with a 2-1 lead for Tom Corio
2-1 wasn't quite indicative of
over
how
Mike Rittenmeyer.
Corio kind of did dominate the first period. Let's see what Corio can do here in a second. Corio real good on top, good halves, good legs, aggressive, always looking for the fall. And he seems to be healthy this season. Corio with a 61 career wins. I'm sure by the time he's all said and done, he'll be one of the top winning percentage wrestlers and most wins in the East Brunswick archives by the time he's finished. Coming in the match with 61 wins, certainly has the opportunity to pick up a another 20, 25 wins this season. So that will certainly put him near the top.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Stu, but did not Ted Slawinski win a state championship at 171 for East Brunswick?
Ted won the
Or was it
158-pound
58
championship.
pound at that time.
I believe
Yeah.
that was about 1985.
Okay.
And we had Darren Schulman, I believe, in 86.
Which
And,
is 119?
Don't quote me, but I think it was maybe 125.
Okay.
But I think one of the lower weight classes.
Right.
And then, of course, Scott Kammer, 1990 heavyweight state champ. Now a father of two himself, living in Delaware.
Acquaintance that I've made over in where I live, Monroe Township, is Roy DeBoer,
Oh, yeah.
who has a couple of sons that are doing very well.
Yeah.
One of the sons is at the Naval Academy now.
Yeah. Roy also was a heavyweight wrestler for East Brunswick. Usually 6 points at the end of the match for the Bears. It's always nice to have a heavyweight, like a little bit of an insurance policy.
Right.
A little bit more added pressure on the heavyweights than the lower guys. In college now, they randomly draw where the meet starts, which is, change the complexity of college wrestling a little bit and needs to employ a little more strategy as Corio is trying to score on the line.
This match is very much up for grabs with the score to 2-2. Rittenmeyer with the escape before. It's 55 seconds left to go in the second period.
Well, it's Corio doing the work, and it's Reitmeyer blocking the shots right here. Game of cat and mouse.
Nice move by
Corio,
Corio.
the beautiful double leg takedown, a shrug and a takedown.
Gets two and makes it 4-2.
Although the 4-2 score doesn't indicate, it's Corio just dominating. Seems to have the upper hand.
And quickness.
Corio is East Brunswick's best shot, probably at a state champion this year. Or certainly on paper, one of the most likely bets to go the furthest. Keith Ritchie looked good, real good at 112 earlier. Hopefully Ritchie can return to the States. He made a trip there last year. One of the big news in wrestling is, for the first time ever, the state championships will be held this year at the Meadowlands.
That's an upgrade.
Yeah. Where everybody should have a good view, and I don't know if I quite agree with that call. East Brunswick's warned for stalling. I don't see it.
And now Corio will take a break.
But the referee's been consistent in calling stalling on the wrestlers that seem to be on top when they head out of bounds. You can't get on an official for making any call as long as it's consistent with the way he's been calling, and he has been calling that consistently all night.
Piscataway being dominant, I guess is the word to use, except for the two matches that East Brunswick won. Given this break, I think we'll just quickly go over the fact that Piscataway jumped out to a 3-0 lead on John Serator's surprising 5-3 victory over Jamie Guido. At 112, East Brunswick even things 3-3 when Keith Richens scored a 6-3 victory. But after that, Piscataway ran off 6 consecutive victories from 119 to 145 to take a 33-3 lead. In that included 3 pins, one by Chris Raber at 119, one at 135, and 5 by Joe Master Giovanni, and then Shigaris at 140. Clay came back for East Brunswick at 152 to make it with a 5-2 victory to make it 36-6, and Napravnik at 160, another fall to make it 39-6, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah, East Brunswick has not matched up real well with Piscataway today. Sometimes this is just the way it works out. It's Reitmeyer who just missed the escape. He did not break his hips. If his hips had dropped, you probably would have saw the official award 1 point, as we have blood time here.
Right.
Corio
from the
mouth.
mouth.
The middle weight classes has been the difference here today. And the return of Chris Rabar to the lineup has certainly strengthened Piscataway. Piscataway definitely a different team than they were just maybe 2 weeks ago with a couple wrestlers out of the lineup. You know, on paper, going into the season, Piscataway would look to be one of the competitive teams in the red division. But, you know, a couple of wrestlers chose not to come out. They had a heavyweight in the name of Hines who probably would have really added to the strength of the team, chose not to come out for the team this year. And, you know, now the return of Raybar. Piscataway Chiefs are back on track.
Well, Justin Hines, just to let you know, is a bona fide Division I football player and is probably at a point where he had to make a decision on what sport he would pursue, and football being where he was one of the top defensive players in the state of New Jersey. Probably out visiting some schools, Stu.
Yeah, well, Bill Vava doing the best with what he's got to work with, and certainly putting out a nice team with or without Hines. As we see today, the Chiefs really doing a job.
Tom Corio has to watch himself. He only has a 2-point lead here in the last period.
Well, he's on bottom, and I'm sure he's comfortable there.
Now he gets to the other point.
You know, now it's 5-2, and look for him to open it up here. He could certainly send a message to the county with a decisive win over Reitmeyer. Right now, you know, on paper, you certainly have to think Corio is going to be the #1 seed, already beating Chris Francis from South Plainfield twice already this year. So, you know, certainly if Corio can come up with a victory here, you can expect to have him seated first in the upcoming county tournament, where he'll be defending his title.
Well, you have another undefeated wrestler by the name of Rudy Medini from Woodbridge, who's at 9-0.
Well, I've seen Medini this year, and I you know, that record might be a little deceiving. I don't think he's in the class of a Corio.
Right. Sal Iadachi is 9-2.
Now, Iadachi is a tough wrestler. Came on real strong at the end of the year last year for Old Bridge. Also a division opponent for Corio in that red division.
Right.
But Corio certainly the cream of the crop right now, as he's in on another takedown and possibly back points as Reitmeyer trying to jumps out of bounds. And Corio with 2 on the back points.
Making it 9-2.
Oh, Coach Vav a little upset on the back points. He didn't see the official counting. The official does not have to show the visual count. It is recommended according to the rule book, but sometimes just the situation doesn't permit itself where you can signal the points, but clearly there was back points before they jumped out of bounds as Corio lets him go and looking for another takedown.
It's 9-3.
East Brunswick warned for stalling, and there goes any opportunity probably for the major decision unless Corio could take Reitmeyer down to his back now.
Which he attempts.
Well, he's in on the leg. If he can reach up for a half and look into a pinning combination here.
Using his power.
And there he is. Corio with an excellent maneuver.
He has
looking
Reitmeyer
for a
in
fall
trouble.
with 12 seconds to go. Certainly he's going to come up with a major decision, if not more.
Score 11-4.
Corio hungry for the fall. With 3 seconds to go, can he pull it off? Excellent finish by Corio.
14-4 is the final.
Decisive victory, certainly sending a message to the rest of the county.
Making the match score 39-9. You see that as an impressive victory for over a quality wrestler.
When you beat an undefeated wrestler 14-4, I consider that an impressive victory.
All right, James Gagnon, the junior with a 5-4 record, a veteran, however, at 189 going against Nick Tranquina.
And Gagnon wasting no time with a quick takedown. Taking Tranquina right to his back.
Tranquina trying to hold him
off. In just 27 seconds. It's all Gagnon here with a fall. We didn't get a lot of time to talk about Gagnon with that quick fall, but he is one of the bright spots in the East Brunswick lineup. The takedown right to the back, wasting no time.
27 seconds.
So East Brunswick coming on strong at the end.
Well, a little too late, however.
Yeah, well, we're getting a little respect back here. As Adam Fleischauer takes the mat for the Bears.
I think Trankachina didn't even know what hit him.
And this looks like Bishop for Piscataway. Bishop with a 9-4 victory last year over Fleischman. So let's see if Fleischman's improved any. See if he can build off that loss to Bishop a year ago. Fleischhauser is much improved, and let's see what he could do here. Fleischhauser 3-3 on the season, comes in with a 500 record. Wrestled varsity for the Bears last year as a sophomore. Now comes in here as a junior. And we're going to get a fresh start. Bishop scores first.
2 points.
The takedown. Just a simple spin around as he looks to work in the half.
Stu, you're right in that this match has gone along much faster than what I've remembered in past matches. We're an hour and 45 minutes into the match, and we have this 215-pound bout and the heavyweight bout left.
Well, that new rule has definitely put an end to the pit stops. You know, kids think twice about taking a timeout. You don't even see him taking one timeout, yet alone the two is where the change of position would occur. But you know, you don't know if you're going to need it, so you hold back on it. And I think it's definitely, from a fan's point of view, made watching a wrestling match a little more enjoyable.
Fleischhauser with an escape, so the score is 2-1 in favor of Bishop. Oh, bloody nose by the Piscataway wrestler.
One nice thing about both East Brunswick and Piscataway that both teams could be proud of is that they both can fill not only, you know, a full varsity lineup, but also a JV lineup, and both teams have freshman teams. You know, with the depth required in East Brunswick now, in wrestling now, you don't always see teams that can fill all the weight classes. So it's impressive that both East Brunswick and Piscataway have full JVs and complementary to their varsity.
Next home meet for East Brunswick will be on the 21st with J.P. Stevens. Here, this will be a 7 p.m. bout. The next match is on the 18th, which is, I believe, a Monday, or Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
At Woodbridge. Bears will have two before the GMC tournament, as Stu mentioned, on the 4th and 5th. We'll have matches at Bishop R on the 22nd of January, and then a clash at Old Bridge.
Ooh.
What do we got here?
We got a fight is what we have. Both wrestlers taking a swing. Let's see how the referee's going to call this. Both wrestlers lost their head a little bit. Easily can happen as tempers flare.
And this is where the official really has to take control of the match.
Let's see what the call's going to be.
It really hasn't. All right,
referee talking to both wrestlers. We're probably going to get a handshake and a fresh start, it looks like. No penalties awarded.
So far, cooler heads prevail. You know, Piscataway and East Brunswick, no matter what sport, really two arch rivals now. We've seen it in basketball, we've seen it in football, and wrestling being a contact sport.
Well, you know, both teams enjoy success in sports as well.
Correct.
You know, always Piscataway puts out a competitive team, whether it be football, basketball, wrestling.
Looks like Bishop needs more blood time.
Okay, the referee is not giving any injury time.
Apparently it's an eye.
Now he is giving
cut,
the injury
cut
time.
on the eye.
Now the rule is with the contact lenses, if you want to pop it right back in, it's not injury time. If it's going to be involved and you need the saline, then it's injury time.
And that is an official's determination.
Right. You know, the kids that can pick it up and pop it in quick get away with it. Being a contact wearer myself, I just have never been able to master that talent. I need the saline, the mirror, and a whole apparatus to get it back in.
Ditto.
Okay.
Of course, with the daily throwaways, just grab another pair, huh?
Yeah, I still abuse it, though. my daily throwaways, I think, are on their 3rd week now.
All right, that's the end of the first period with Brian Bishop holding a 2-1 lead over Adam Fleischhauser. Excuse me, Fleischhauer.
None of the wrestlers have made it easy here today for us with their names. Fleischhauser needs to do here is he needs to square up with Bishop and try to face him. Wants to get that weight off his back. Fleischhauser needs to pop up. Shouldn't be reaching back. Needs to put the weight onto his feet. Needs to push himself free. There's nothing on his legs. He needs to back out now. Bishop trying to work at a boot. Something we don't see a lot from 215-pounders. Good move by Fleischhauser, grabbing onto that arm. Now Fleischhauser can back out of that and face him. Fleischhauser needs to get a little more explosive here. Good move.
Ties
Good
it up.
move by Fleischhauser for the escape.
2-2 the score.
We're all evened up here. I'm sorry, we're at 3-2 Piscataway.
Apologize. What happened there? How did each team get a point?
I don't know, I missed something, I think.
It was 2-1.
It was 2-1. Okay, they put the point up on the wrong
Right,
board.
it is 2-2.
Okay, so we're at 2-2. We're all tied up here with 44 seconds to go in the 2nd period as we get a break in action as we go out of bounds. Sika walking both wrestlers back to the middle, maybe looking for blood.
Yeah.
Season on Piscataway, so we got blood time Piscataway. So we get a look at our crowd here today.
Vocal crowd, I will tell you.
Zico taking the opportunity to give some instructions to Adam. Why Bill Valva on the other side of the mat takes care of the blood on Brian Bishop. Now, years ago, the wrestler that's bleeding could not be coached, could not receive any instruction from his coach. Now you can. Now, in addition, while you're taking care of the blood, you can give some advice to your wrestler. Tempers seem to have flared down here as we're locked at 2 with 42 seconds to go here in the 2nd period at 2:15. 2:15, by the way, one of the newer weight classes. You know, back in the day when I was in high school, we wrestled 12 weight classes, and that's now changed to 14.
Went
with
from
the
89 to
insertion of
heavyweight, huh?
215. You know, the weight classes are constantly being restudied and rechanged, but
Yes, they are.
the gap between 189 and 275 was cut by inserting the 215. Actually, there wasn't a 275.
It was a heavy. It was an,
It was an unlimited, right? And we all remember the forever infamous East Brunswick South River match with Russ Olson weighing in, you know, well over 400, taking on Bill Jeeves at 215. As Brian Bishop scores a spin around takedown to take the lead 4-2 as we reset with 21 seconds to go in the 2nd. Bishop riding the ankle, trying to work a half. Somewhat parallel, needs to come out to the side, Bishop.
that's going to be it for the period. Score is 4-2. Brian Bishop over Adam Fleischhauer.
Well, East Brunswick certainly has the ability to get back on the winning ways with Warbridge, J.P. Stevens, and Piscataway. 3 certainly obtainable victories for East Brunswick, none which will come easy,
Right.
but certainly within the grasp of East Brunswick to come up with a couple of wins, you know, going into the Old Bridge match and then the county tournament. Being in that red division, there's not a lot of room to hide. South Plainfield, despite being Group 2, wrestles in the red division and always strong, and Old Bridge, of course, always strong. And this year, Warbridge and J.P. Stevens are enjoying some success. And on the flip side, Edison, who's usually strong, is having an off year, having trouble finding the numbers. As Piscataway's warned for stalling. Our official today, Frank Sika, has been keeping action going, has been calling stalling. Bishop still not improving his position. Needs to be careful of getting called for stalling again. One of the telltale signs of stalling is your head dropping to the mat, as we saw Bishop was doing. Look for Bishop to get called again, possibly.
Crowd is out.
Crowd wants it.
Yeah. There's the head dropping.
Double stalling, which is going to award a point for East Brunswick.
Because that was the second warning.
Yeah,
for
not a
Piscataway.
call I've ever really liked, the double stall.
So it's 4-3.
Now, East Brunswick was called for stalling in the officials' eyes. He was riding parallel, and he was penalized. Perhaps if Adam was out to the side, it would have been just Bishop.
Well,
warned
according
for
to the
stalling.
clock, Stu, just the Piscataway wrestler received the point.
Well, because that was his second offense.
Right.
You know, so it actually worked to Adam's advantage because Piscataway had that previous warning. So, you know, in essence, the call went East Brunswick's way, being that Bishop already had the previous warning. So Fleischman with 36 seconds, and he has an option either letting him go or taking him down or choosing the other option, which would be to turn him. So let's see what Coach Bazinko has suggested that Adam try. Looks like he's going to let him go. No? Okay, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so we're neutral. So Adam with 28 seconds to gain the takedown, which would put this into overtime if no other points are scored. We're at 5-3 with 25 seconds to go. Look for Fleischhauser to stay aggressive and score. It's Bishop coming in with the counter for the takedown. And again, a quick neutral.
Makes the score 7-3 now.
By Fleischhauser. So what Fleischhauser needs to do now
7-4
is look for the throw. He needs to take Bishop to the back.
Not enough time, Stu.
As Bishop is warned for stalling again. 7-5. So a takedown will put in overtime.
Now that's a second stall.
Right, so that's a point violation. The next penalty would be 2 points.
So it could
With
happen.
3 seconds to go, I just don't think he's gonna have enough time. So that's gonna do it here at 2:15. 7-5 in favor of Bishop. An improvement from the 9-4 victory last year for Fleischhauser, but still coming up on the short end at 2:15.
So our final match of the evening at 275 is East Brunswick's Dennis Bruno.
And it looks like that's gonna be our last
9-1
bout of the day.
9-1 record versus Scott Berry. I'm sorry, they're not going to wrestle. Okay.
Bruno a little too much experience perhaps, and
Right.
Bill Vava electing not to send his wrestler to the mat.
Which is, you can understand that.
Yeah, you know, you always like your wrestlers to compete, but maybe didn't want to risk an injury, and maybe thought Bruno was a little too much for him to handle.
So the final score in the match, Piscataway with its first dual meet victory of the year, can you believe?
Hard to believe.
Well, you explained it very fluidly by the fact that they went up against some very formidable competition, but nonetheless coming away with a 42-22 victory this afternoon to bring their record to 1-3-1. East Brunswick, meanwhile, falls to 5-3 with the loss. And Stu, just your thoughts on what you saw and what this may lead into as far as the rest of the season is concerned?
Again, I touched on it earlier. It's just sometimes it's the way that the teams match up. Strength versus strength and holes versus holes. And East Brunswick failed to win those toss-up bouts, and which made Piscataway victorious today. But look for East Brunswick to be back in the winning ways, and also look for Piscataway just to continue on what they seem to start today. And both teams should be near the top in that red division.
Okay, so I thank you, Stu Kohn, for spending the time with us and, as usual, providing your expert advice. And we look forward to you joining us in the future. So the final score here this afternoon at East Brunswick High School, Piscataway 42, East Brunswick 22 in this wrestling match. For Stu Kohn, this is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for being with us.